Irrespective of how much wealth, assets, and material possessions we may acquire for comfort in our life, the real wealth lies in our health. We have often heard this saying, but in the hustle and bustle of our lives, we have somewhere forgotten it. It has been noticed of late that the majority of our wellness-related problems are due to the wrong lifestyle. Crack the Wellness Code, or CWC as it is commonly known, has its origin in the health hero story of its founder, Mr. Naren Bakshi, a serial entrepreneur of Indian origin in Silicon Valley. He was able to reverse his lifestyle diseases like diabetes, sleep apnea, and obesity by making lifestyle corrections that were backed by irrespective of wisdom, how much wealth and Western scientific research and material possessions we may acquire to the establishment of our India Chapter in our life. June 2020, the real wealth lies in our health. We have often heard this saying, but in the hustle and bustle of our lives, we have somewhere CWC Global, it has been noticed of late that the majority of our wellness
there is a double play
are due to the wrong lifestyle. Crack the Wellness Code, or CWC as it is commonly
There's some challenge as well.
Mr. Ashok Gehlot and the then Health Minister of Rajasthan, Dr. Raghu Sharma. The encouraging feedback led to the formation of the Indus Wellness Co Trust in April 2021 and finally registered as a Section 8 company under the Companies Act by the name My Crack the Wellness Code Foundation in July 2022. CWC has a dedicated full-time team, doctor patrons and volunteers with a total focus on wellness. The initiative has conducted more than 50 webinars on various dimensions of wellness such as physical, mental, emotional, and occupational wellness, and so on, with experts from around the globe, including Stanford and Harvard University. Our Wellness Resource Center to run regular wellness activities such as wellness-based events, knowledge and yoga sessions, support group interactions, access to wellness library, and so on. It is located at a prominent commercial hub at Jaipur. Various eminent educational institutions, corporates, and other not-for-profit organizations are already associated with us to work together on spreading the wellness message. This foundation firmly believes that we must take care of our body and mind, as this is the place where we have to spend our entire life. Wellness means that to the extent possible, we should follow good habits in our life so that we remain healthy in all aspects and live our life to the fullest. Healthy mind and thoughts reside in a healthy body, and if we want to live a happy life, then we shouldn't ever let it fall sick. The goal of my CWC Foundation is to bring wellness to the lives of 50 lakh people in 5 years. And for this, our mantra is E, educate, I, inspire, E, empower, and I, impact. The Indian chapter of CWC, just like CWC Global, is committed to working on the reversal of lifestyle disorders related to heart, obesity, diabetes, cancer, and mental and behavioral health. Today, India is doing well in various sectors, but when it comes to Global Wellness Index, India ranks fairly low. It is high time that we Indians claim our rightful place in the Health and Wellness Index, and we are sure that we will make an impact there. So, let us all unite and join this cause of a better India, a wellness-oriented India.
Namaskar, Adab, Sat Shri Akal. I'm Sharat Kamra from Crack the Wellness Code Foundation, and welcome all to yet another very interesting Crack the Wellness Code session on wellness. The question is, often we ask ourselves, am I well? And the question you ask others, are you well? Now, what does this well define? That means the wellness in all different dimensions. And one very important dimension often forgotten is the emotional and mental wellness. I hope you all agree with me. So we are into yet another and very transformative and inspiring session, which can lead to an absolutely different world for us, and that is shadow work therapy. So the expert that we have with us today is Dr. Pami Shoran. Welcome, Dr. Pami. Thanks for joining us for this wonderful, amazing session which you have brought forward. The emotional and mental wellness cannot be fully achieved until and unless we have been able to address our past baggages. It's often that, the detriment to our growth, detriment to our personal development is somewhere hidden in the past, somewhere something unacknowledged, something suppressed, and that is not helping us to open up fully and not getting connected to the future because we have not cleared up the past. So this and a lot more we're going to discuss with Dr. Pami to let you know all a little about her. So Dr. Pami has more than 21 years of experience helping thousands of people to maximize their potential. And for the last 6 years, she's been actively empowering sensitive beings through an integrated approach of emotions, mindset, energy mastery. She has PhD in applied psychology. She is an ANLP certified NLP trainer, a Reiki master, a Lama Fera master teacher with an expert training in Rorschach ink blot testing, cognitive behavior therapy, psychological counseling, past life regression, family constellation and transgenerational healing, inner child healing, chakras healing, meditation, yoga, EFT, tapping and breathwork are some of her favorite healing modalities. In fact, Dr. Shoran uses a blend of scientific and research-based psychological tools as well as spiritual practices to help a client achieve phenomenal results in their lives. So welcome, Dr. Pami, and thanks a lot for joining this session. The audience are really keen here. You can see they're joining and coming in that numbers to get to know a lot of answers, perhaps, to their queries. So the stage is all yours. And the very first question that actually comes to our mind is, what actually got you onto this path?
Thank you so much, Sharanji. Thank you for this beautiful introduction, for this platform, this opportunity. And it's my pleasure to be here with the CWC community and share some of my experiences and insights on shadow work therapy today. And luckily, last week, I have been going through strep throat. So luckily, I have come to a better place now. And I hope I am clear. My speech is okay, fine, understandable. So firstly, I would want to know from the audience. I can see some of the familiar faces. I can see Swati, I can see Rajneesh, I can see Shabnam, Gyandeep is there, Banita is there. So nice to see you people. And I would like to know from where you are joining today, and just drop in the chat from where you're joining today, which place you're joining. And also I would love to see everyone's face. It's always good to, connect through those multiple senses. So seeing the visual sense is a very important sense when we make connection. So I would really appreciate if you could turn on your camera so that I can see you all. So nice. So we can see that, yes, Delhi, Prayagraj, Dubai, Jaipur, wonderful. So Thane, Jaipur, nice. So now, as Sharanji had asked about it, so how I got into this world. So for me, I had come to a point in life. It was like kind of a life which seems very good. I mean, nobody would say that there is anything missing in life. So I have a very loving, supportive husband, 2 children who are doing very well in life. And I, at that point about which I'm talking about now, so I was working in one of the most reputed institutes at a decent job, decent pay package, everything was very good, And yet I suddenly realized that I started having inflammation in my body. And it started with the smaller joints. So, and gradually it came to the major joints as well, and affecting my mobility. Means when I had inflammation in my knees, in my ankles, I could hardly walk. And I was still in my 30s. So that was not a good place to be. And what I realized was that it was related to some very deeper emotional, mental, and energetic patterns. And I had a history of suppressing my expressions, my authentic expression, so that I do not hurt or disappoint others. Means I had difficulty saying no to others. I was a very big overgiver. So I had everything on my priority. So my children, my husband, my family, my work, my social life, everything. But I was not there in that list of priorities. And that had come to a point wherein lot was suppressed. Lot was in the unconscious. Lot was in the shadows. And a part of what was in the shadow was also anger. Can you beat it, right? So a part of it was anger, because women have been told right from the birth that you don't look good when you're angry. You're not supposed to express anger. The girls, they don't get angry. You are not supposed to express your anger. And now if we correlate, so anger and inflammation. When I was not ready to acknowledge it, accept it, it had started showing in my body. It has started, my cells, the cells of my body had started showing it for me. And the condition that I was diagnosed was lupus. And lupus is an autoimmune condition. So autoimmune is a condition wherein the cells of the body, they are attacking our own, body cells. So what was happening was, in a way, I was turning myself into my own enemy by not speaking for myself, by not living for myself, by not standing up for myself. And that had started showing in my, manifesting in my physical body in the form of a disease. And this is what we say as dis-ease, a state of unease. And any disease which originates is a state of unease, whether within ourselves or whether it's in our interaction or relationship with our work, with our family, with the world, with life in general. So it's a state of unease. And to cut the whole story short, what I wanted to share with you is that I recovered from lupus without any actually there is no medication as such for lupus. So it can be only anti-inflammatory, which is not a good thing to take, because then you have a lot of infections. Immunosuppressants, sorry. So you have a lot of infections if you suppress your immune system. So finally, I didn't go for any medication and I healed from lupus. I'm not suggesting that you don't have to take medication or you don't have to consult a medical doctor or medical specialist. But the thing is that sometimes we need both the approaches. Sometimes it's like I could work it through, so I could work it through. So what I did was I started making myself my #1 priority. I started bringing out all that suppressed material from the past. And I just, found joy in my beingness, not in doing. So I was into so much of doing thing. So I just started living for, just being myself. And my lupus got cured and the doctor was surprised. The doctor said, my mother, he told me that my mother has lupus and she has lupus for 40 years. She has not recovered from it. And it's something I cannot believe it. But yes, I could do it. And from the time when I could not walk till the time today. So this is the story from 2013 to 16 when I was going through this phase. And today, when I do a headstand easily, so it's been a journey for me. And that's when I decided I am going to share all this with my fellow beings so that we can create the wellness, the happiness, the joy, the freedom that we all deserve.
That's so wonderful, wonderful, excellent, and very inspiring story, Dr. Pami. So this boils down and brings me back to the same point which I've been holding for very long, which was part of my own story also. And often I've heard wise people saying that you are responsible for your own journey, you're responsible for your own deeds, you're responsible for your own emotions, and you're responsible for your own wellness, health and wellness. And for whatever we are actually seeking, the answers lie actually within.
Yes.
And often people, forget this one very important aspect in their life is that, you got to set your own non-negotiables of your life. And, somehow in India and maybe many other parts of the world, people are in the habit of keeping health as a negotiable factor. Oh, I will attend to this later. I will attend to this later. Same is the case with the emotions also. That, okay, fine, you keep on getting it to the point of boiling and then it's a volcanic eruption. And often it doesn't lead to any, you can say, brings a lot of diseases, sickness, as you rightly said, dis-ease. But it is not, able to cure. And medicines are actually not an answer to a lot of things which are happening inside. So very well said. And thank you for this. So coming back to this now question, that shadow work. So what exactly is shadow work?
Yeah. So firstly, I would like to ask from each one of you कि आपने कभी लाइफ में कुछ छुपाया है? So I'll just put this on gallery view and I would love to see each one of you here. So आपने कभी लाइफ में कुछ छुपाया है? कुछ छुपाया है? I can see some young faces here. और कुछ नहीं तो love letter छुपाया हो. So जब आपने अगर कभी कोई चीज छुपाई है तो यू वुड नो कि वो जो छुपी हुई चीज होती है उसको छुपा के रखने के लिए हमें कितना एफर्ट लगाना पड़ता है. So would you agree? Would you agree? छुपी हुई चीज को छुपा के रखने के लिए कितना एफर्ट लगाना पड़ता है. और कभी जैसे घर में गेस्ट आ रहे हैं और घर में कुछ गंद छुपा रहे हैं, राइट? एक जैसे पर्दे के पीछे में कुछ छुपा दिया हमने कि ये हम नहीं चाहते कि गेस्ट देखें. एंड देन द गेस्ट सेज कि हम ना थोड़ा घर घूम के देखते हैं, आपका घर देखना चाहते हैं. एंड देन वो पूरे टाइम पे ना वो मन में वो रहेगा कि अरे कहीं वो पर्दा ना हटा ले, वहां पे मैंने ना ऐसे अच्छी चीजें नहीं छुपा के रखी हुई है. सो पूरे टाइम वो ध्यान कहाँ रहेगा? उस गेस्ट को एंटरटेन करने में नहीं रहेगा, उसकी बात सुनने में नहीं रहेगा. वो जो ध्यान है वो उस छुपी हुई चीज में रहता है कि वो वहां पे कुछ छुपा हुआ है. एंड इसी तरह से किस लिए हम छुपाते, किस लिए? बिकॉज वी डोंट वांट इट टू बी सीन बाय द वर्ल्ड, वी डोंट वांट इट टू बी सीन बाय अदर्स फॉर व्हाटएवर रीजंस. एंड तो जो शैडो है उसका बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट यही है कि जो चीजें हमें ऐसा लगता है कि दुनिया ना देखे तो बेहतर है, तो वो चीजें हम अपने डीपर जो अनकॉन्शियस है उसमें छुपा देते हैं. पर प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पे क्या होती है कि हम छुपा करके भूल भी जाते हैं कई बार के मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम. एंड आई विल शेयर अ स्टोरी हियर टू हाईलाइट दिस. जैसे जब मैं कोई 10th 11th क्लास में थी तो मम्मी जो फोर्स करती थी कि आपको मतलब 3-4 चपाती खानी है, यू आर इन ग्रोइंग एज एंड यू हैव टू हैव 4 chapatis. एंड आई वाज वेरी फिगर कॉन्शियस एज यंग गर्ल्स आर. So I would say कि 4 चपाती खाऊंगी तो इतनी मोटी हो जाऊंगी, अब इसका क्या करूं चपाती का? तो वो चपाती मैं छुपा देती थी. And so the chapati would go into the drawer, कहीं ना कहीं अलमीरा में कहीं. And my टास्क वुड बी कि मैंने ढूंढ करके नेक्स्ट डे चपातीज निकालनी है. जब मम्मी आसपास नहीं है तो मैंने वो ढूंढ के चपातीज निकालनी कि मैंने कहाँ छुपाई हुई है. बट इतनी चपातियां छुपा दी जाती थी कि 1-2 तो इनवेरेबली गायब भी हो जाती, मतलब मुझे याद ही नहीं रहता था मैंने यहाँ कोई चपाती भी डाली है. एंड वंस यू डिस्कवर द चपाती आफ्टर 10 days, नो दिस चपाती इज वेरी, जब छुपाई थी तो वो चपाती बहुत हेल्दी थी, बहुत अच्छी थी, उसको मैं खाती तो भी सही था, कोई और खाता तो भी सही था, एंड इट हैड इट्स ओन वैल्यू एट दैट टाइम, इट हैड इट्स ओन पर्पस, है ना, इट वाज टू फीड अस। लेकिन वो जब एक हफ्ता, 10 दिन तक, 15 दिन तक वो कहीं किसी कॉर्नर में छुपी रही, तो उसके बाद उसमें फंगस, ब्लैक, व्हाइट, हर तरह के फंगस स्टार्ट, राइट, द स्मेल स्टार्ट्स। तो अब जब उस चपाती को निकालना होता है, then that chapati firstly it doesn't remain edible, 10-15 दिन के बाद में वो चपाती एडिबल नहीं है। सेकेंडली वो जो चपाती है उसको बहुत केयरफुली निकालना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि जो फंगस के जो स्पोर्स हैं उनको इनहेल कर लिया तो इरिटेशन होगा, रेस्पिरेटरी प्रॉब्लम होगा, काफी सारे प्रॉब्लम हो सकते हैं, एंड इट्स नॉट गुड फॉर द हेल्थ। एनीबडी हु इज टेकिंग आउट हैज टू डू इट वेरी केयरफुली। सो नाउ व्हाट हैड हैपेंड वाज कि हमारे सबकॉन्शियस में इसी तरह से हम बहुत सारी चीजें जो सोसाइटी को नहीं पसंद आती है, राइट, या जो सोसाइटी में एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं होती हैं, उन चीजों को हम उस चपाती की तरह एक कोने में छुपा देते हैं। हमारे घर में वो अलमारी के कोने हैं, ड्रॉर्स हैं, लेकिन जो हमारे पर्सनल सिस्टम में वो जो कोने हैं वो अनकॉन्शियस माइंड के कॉर्नर्स हैं। हम वहां पे उस जो चीज हम नहीं चाहते कि दूसरा देखे उसको वहां पे छुपा देते हैं। तो नाउ आई वांट टू नो फ्रॉम यू कि वो कौन सी ऐसी चीजें हैं आपके बारे में जो आप एक्चुअली चाहते हो कि कोई दूसरा ना जान पाए, स्पेशली व्हेन इट रिलेट्स टू पर्सनालिटी ट्रेट्स एंड इमोशंस। Type in the chat, let me know, let the chat go buzzing with your answers. See, it's always the kind of participation that we have that actually develops the energy that we need for learning and growing. So let me know in the chat, so what are those traits which are unacceptable? Thank you, Sharaji. Yeah, so I'll be coming to the poll. Yeah, so anger, yes. So because anger is not acceptable by the society. And why it is not acceptable? Because anger is often associated with aggression. So instead of somebody telling us the healthy ways of expressing anger, we didn't know that we could express anger in some very healthy ways. But we were just told, cut that down. And so वो चीजें हम छुपा रहे हैं। डिजायर्स, यस, हमारी बहुत सारी ऐसी डिजायर्स होती है जो कि एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं होती है सोसाइटी को, सो वी पुश देम इनटू द अनकॉन्शियस। हमारी वीकनेसेस, बिकॉज पीपल they favor the brave, they favor the strong, right, they favor the courageous. The society favors the courageous, and it has an evolutionary reason to it कि जो courageous होते थे, जो fighters होते थे, they used to survive. बाकी जो weak होते थे, they would get killed during hunting or wars in the previous times. तो हम अपनी weakness को, vulnerability को छुपा देते हैं. Sometimes I don't want to hurt someone or create an unpleasantness at home, so I hide some stuff I buy. Yes. So, because we don't want to disappoint others, we don't want to create conflict in the house, we don't want to disturb the peace of our mind. So, हम उस चक्कर में भी हम बहुत सारी चीजें छुपा देते हैं, anger को छुपाते हैं, अपने disappointments को छुपाते हैं. And I need to cry to let some difficult feelings, yes. और हमें we need to let the emotions out. और कभी-कभी तो हम वो रोना भी छुपा देते हैं, because रोना means we are weak. We don't want the world to see that face of ours that we are weak. And failures को छुपाते हैं, अपनी sensitivity को छुपाते हैं, अपने emotions को छुपाते हैं, और हम अपने relations prior to marriage को छुपाते हैं कि हम ये नहीं चाहते कि वो marriage break हो. Right? So there are so many reasons for which we hide things. तो सबसे पहले तो ये चीज है, एक important चीज है कि हम छुपाते हैं, हमें छुपाना पड़ता है. So there are reasons why we are hiding, and धीरे धीरे that goes into repression. We just even forget. वो चपाती की तरह कि कभी हमने वो छुपाया था, it just goes out of our conscious mind. It slipped into the unconscious. So this is what we call as shadow. मतलब ये सारा dark में है, ये सारा shadow में है. This is not in the light of our conscious awareness. Anything which is not in the light of our conscious awareness is in the shadow. It's in the dark. And the process, which we call a shadow work, is the process of bringing this. So it's a work that we do to bring out all that is there into the darkness, hidden into the recesses of our unconscious mind. So how we pull that out. Now, अगर याद ही हो कि वो चपाती उस ड्रॉर में रखी हुई है या कभी रखी थी, तो कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं है. थोड़ी सी दिक्कत है कि थोड़ा हैंडलिंग विद केयर चाहिए होगा क्योंकि स्पोर्स हैं वहां पे फंगस के. लेकिन कितना तो याद ही नहीं है, कहाँ छुपाया, कब छुपाया, क्या छुपाया, याद ही नहीं है. And that is why, so when we do shadow work, we have set of processes, we have set of indicators, we have set of systems to help us discover what we had hidden in the recesses of our unconscious mind back into the past and how we can pull it out today. So that's the concept of shadow work.
Great, excellent, wonderful. So just a thought which was coming to my mind listening to this, entire thing, and of course, seems to be something which can really have a long-lasting effect on our life if not opened up at the proper time, just like that chapati.
Yeah.
So very nice simile drawn here. So the question that actually comes to my mind, and often when we, you've been also a yoga practitioner, and we all know, reading different yoga scriptures, there are so many veils around us.
Yeah.
There are some veils of the past also, actually.
Yes.
And if those are not opened up at the proper time, because a wise person had once said that there's nothing that goes wrong in life. It's only our interpretation. So at that point of time, when we are harboring such kind of a thing, it's only we who are dealing with it, and we did not settle it at the right time.
Yeah.
And since we did not settle it at the right time, so that feeling was rottening inside, like that chapati. And it was carrying all the insects and roots and, everything around that. So same thing is happening with our emotions, which we are harboring for a long point of time. The question now comes is that how this can actually work as a therapy. How will we get people to open up?
Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Yeah.
And so you have so very rightly brought out, these repressed material rottening like the chapati, and that's when it becomes dangerous. That's when it becomes volatile. That's when it becomes different from its original purpose. Like the chapati, which was the original purpose was to give us the energy, the nutrition, the diet, but the rotting chapati doesn't have that purpose. It doesn't carry the same purpose. Nobody can eat it at that time. So everything, so that has been repressed. So it has rotted and it has become dangerous, volatile, explosive, and it also grows bigger in its proportion. Just like the chapati, so when it has got that mold growth on it, so that growth occupies more space around. I mean, if we look at the space, the growth, the space of the growth of the mold, so they would occupy more space. And so similarly, these things, they kind of gather more volume and more momentum over a period of time when we have all this repressed material within us. So now with the shadow work, what we are doing here is that we have to safely pull it out. We have to very safely pull it out. So that's the purpose. अगर हमें इनसे पता लगता है कि हमें हमारे अंदर एंगर रिप्रेस्ड है, तो हम उसको सीधा हम उसको पुल अप करेंगे, पुल आउट करेंगे, तो उसमें हम बहुत सारे लोगों को हर्ट कर सकते हैं प्रोसेस में. And the moment we start acknowledging it, and since it is like when it starts coming into the conscious awareness, so it has to come out. It has to come out. Now, what are the safe ways in which we can let it out so that we are not damaging our own self and we are not hurting the other? So that's the purpose of the shadow work therapy.
Okay, great, excellent. So there is a term which you had used once in our interaction, and that was the shadow self. Is it the same or is it different?
Yes. Wonderful. So this shadow self comes from Carl Jung's concept of archetypes. So Carl Jung, he's the first person who suggested this term shadow for the unconscious stuff that we had, all the repressed thoughts and anxieties and fears that we had in our unconscious. So he gave this term shadow. And there are these 4 archetypes that Carl Jung suggests. So of which one is the shadow, and about what we are discussing today. The others are related to how everything goes into the shadow. So yeah. So I'll just type in the name, and I'll bring the PPT out for this. So this will make it easy to understand. I'll just get the PPT slide here.
Yeah.
So I'll just bring it on the related slide, and just give me a minute. So here we have, these are the 4 archetypes that Carl Jung has suggested. And so one part of it is the persona. So the persona is that what we present to the world. Means and we have different personas, right? Office ka persona alag hoga, ghar ka persona alag hoga, husband का wife के सामने persona अलग होगा, wife का husband के सामने, girlfriend का boyfriend के सामने, boyfriend का girlfriend के सामने, right? Mother का child के सामने, child का mother के सामने, child का अपने friend circle में. So we have different personas. So these personas are kind of, the mask that we wear when we are in a social situation, when we are with others. And so I would want you to have a look into it. कि एक बार अपने persona को थोड़ा सा जैसे if you just have reflection on it, कि मैं college, school या place of work में what is my persona? How do I behave? Right? How do I talk? How do I present myself? Right? When I am at home with my parents or with my children or with my family, how do I behave? How do I talk? How do I sit? What is my body posture? Right? And everything. And then you can relate when I am all alone. Nobody is watching me. Then how do I sit? How do I stand? How do I walk? How do I talk? How do I behave? And let me know in the chat if you find all your persona and your alone self as same, so write S. And if it is different, so write D. Let me know if it is same or different. If it is same in every situation, the way you are talking, the way you are behaving, the way your body posture is, the way your language is, everything is same. And when you're alone, it's same. And if it is, you are in the group, it is different. So let me see. So I'm relaxed when I'm all alone. And what happens when not all alone? So Richard, what would happen when you're not all alone? So is there a tension, or is there an uneasiness, restlessness? How does it happen? So yeah, Banita different, Shabnam different, Rajneesh different, Naziha different, Gargi S, Usha D, Shalini different, Richard S in office and home, and D S, but alone is different. Yes. So yes, it is possible that all our masks in all the social situations are same, but when we are alone, it is different. That is also a possibility. So now the thing about shadow here is that when it is different, that means there is a lot that has already been into the shadow. There is a lot of things that you don't want the world to know about yourself. And there is nothing right or wrong in it. There is nothing right or wrong in it, but it is. Like if I give my example, so when I realize that my my persona was that of completely that yes person, no nos, right? So it was a yes person, and अंदर बहुत सारा no चलता रहेगा, नहीं ये नहीं करना मुझे, ये नहीं, ये सही नहीं है, राइट? मेरे पास में इसका टाइम नहीं है, ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है, अंदर इतना नहीं चलता रहेगा, लेकिन बाहर बोला है yes, because I could not say no. There was another thing that and this was something which was very repressed. It came out later on. I didn't even know that it was different. So was that of a very serious professional look. So being a teacher, being a professor, जो typical professor वाली look होती है ना, right? So, and that was not me, that was not me. So बहुत सारी चीजें हमें like we kind of, क्योंकि we go by the image of the society, so that's the persona thing. Then we have the anima and animus within us. So the anima is the inner feminine in a man, and animus is the inner masculine in a man, actually in a woman. Actually हम जो human beings हैं, so all of us are a composite of inner masculine and inner feminine. So we are half masculine and half feminine, emotionally, energetically, right? And बहुत जैसे हम masculine की बात करते हैं, तो masculine has got the traits of planning, execution, logic, action taking. All these are aspects of masculine. Anger is an aspect of masculine. Now the feminine has all those nurturing qualities. So the ability to empathize, being compassionate, ability to nurture, provide, right? Patience, tolerance. So all these are the feminine qualities. Now what happens is that in a society, being in the gender-based roles, so a girl is told not to behave like a boy, don't be a tomboy. How many of you have heard that? And उसमें क्या होता है, या तो rebellion होता है कि अभी तो इतने tomboyish थे, अभी इतने हो गए हैं, right? And या फिर क्या होता है, suppression होता है. लेकिन both are unhealthy. जहां rebellion है ना, कि हमें बोला इतना tomboyish नहीं होना और हम इतने हो रहे हैं. So for us to reach there, we have to reject a lot of feminine qualities within us. And अगर यहाँ पे चले गए हैं, so we have to completely reject the masculine within us. So that's here, the balance has to be maintained. And so there is a lot of suppression of these qualities in human beings, especially the feminine qualities in the men or in the boys, starting right from boyhood, and the masculine qualities in the women. So there is that is something which is not acceptable to the society. Hamara response, as Sharat ji said, it's always we are responding. It is a meaning that we are creating out of the situation. So our response will decide whether we are responding in revolt or whether we are responding into suppression. हम revolt में कर रहे हैं तो हम दूसरे aspect को cut off कर रहे हैं, हम suppression में कर रहे हैं तो हम दूसरे aspect को cut off कर रहे हैं. But definitely we are cutting off a very essential aspect of our life, our individuality. And every quality has its own purpose depending upon the context. Now, अगर मानो कि एक्सीडेंट हो जाता है गाड़ी का, द हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ आर ड्राइविंग, अगर वो वाइफ ने अपने मैस्कुलिन को सप्रेस करके रखा हुआ था और उसको ना तो वो गाड़ी चलाना आता, ना एक्शन लेना आता, ना कुछ करना आता, एंड शी इज नेवर इंटरेक्टेड विद द वर्ल्ड, हाउ विल शी टेक हिम टू द डॉक्टर? तो वो जो मैस्कुलिन है वही तो उसमें वो स्ट्रेंथ लाएगा ना. And the opposite case, the wife is hurt in the accident, the husband takes her to the doctor, but she needs that love, care, attention, time of the husband. So, एक वो balance, हर इंसान के अंदर वो balance बहुत जरूरी है. And सो हमारे ये जो बचपन की कंडीशनिंग की वजह से ये चीजें हमारी कभी कभी दे गो इनटू द एनिमल दे गो इनटू द शैडोज. So now what is shadow? So shadow is actually all the repressed ideas, all the wishes, impulsive shortcomings, unacceptable attributes, everything that we have pushed into the unconscious. It would have those anima and animus aspects. It would have those aspects जो हमने persona से hide करके रखे हुए हैं. And the self is the composite of everything. The conscious, the unconscious, we have with it the ego at the center. With ego, we mean to say the identity of the person, what the individual is. So that is at the center. So excuse me. So this is the basic framework of the 4 archetypes with which Carl Jung had suggested taking out those hidden aspects of our personality. So this is the 4 archetypes framework. I wanted to share this, yeah. And yes, I'll stop sharing the screen now. Yeah.
So that's really interesting. And should we go ahead with poll and get to know people's?
Yes. That would be really interesting. So we have a poll for you, and so you can answer one by one. So it's just having a sneak peek into our shadow self, and the results. We won't know who has polled what, who has written what. So yes, you can just type in, so we can have a collective answer from everyone. Yeah.
So it's all set anonymous actually. So
Yeah.
So Azhar, you can launch from there.
Yeah. Right.
Just click on poll.
Can I ask you one thing?
Or you can make me host, then I can do that.
Should I let me see if I am able to do this.
I think only the host will be.
Okay. This.
Yeah, you are host now. You can do it. Yeah.
No. What is happening is this has come as a choice.
No, they can type. They can type.
They can type. Okay.
Just check.
Let me see. I think it is coming as a choice. Yeah, I think so. No worries. What I'll do is I'll put that slide on, and we can
we can do that. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll just put that slide on. No worries about it. So we'll just have a look. Yeah. So can you see the slide? So we'll go one by one. So you can have your answers in your notepad, and those who would be happy sharing in the groups, you can share it in the group. No hassles here, but if you want to keep it private, you can keep it private. So the emotion I am least comfortable expressing is, and you don't have to think much about it. Mostly these answers would come very spontaneously in the first impression that you have. It's kind of एकदम से word आएगा दिमाग में या सामने flash आएगा. It would come just all of a sudden, and you would know your answer. And so everybody has written that. The
understanding shadows have been, hidden for so long, it would be too difficult, to just open up immediately. So, maybe what would perhaps work best for you is to write it directly to Dr. Pami, and no need to put it in everyone. Yes, you can just put it directly to her.
So, you can put it directly to as a direct message also.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we have the next here is that the qualities that irritate you in others the most. And so, so this is very interesting. Actually, Okay. Yeah. And then we have the next, what I most readily judge others for. And so you would have, just see, actually what happens is that our shadow is not just a single component, it's a cluster of things. And when we are doing this exercise, what is right on the surface comes up all of a sudden. We may not have, so many aspects which are attached as clusters to it, but we have that first thing coming up. What I least want others to know about me. When I feel shame, what I usually do is and we have one more here. I don't like admitting that I am. And so we can just so we can close this.
Yeah.
And I think everybody is done.
Great. I think everyone was responding wonderfully. Okay. So can we say that common manifestations which would come out of shadow self are similar to what we've been opening up, or there are more?
Yes. So these are the parts which are showing up, those aspects which are showing up.
Yes.
And then we have, as we have been talking about it, that all that which is unacceptable to the society, plus all that prevents us from fitting in and belonging to maybe our family, our tribe, our community, our society, our place of work, our culture. So anything that, is an obstacle for us to fit into it. And so we have the most common ones that which manifest as so we have some parts which are part of the shadow, and some aspects which are manifestations of the shadow. So if we talk about the manifestations, the way it shows up in a life, so one is emotional reactivity, trigger. And it's any shadow is anything trigger which is there, so that's an activated shadow material. And so our attachment to being right is an activated shadow, which wherein we have those fears of not being good enough, not being competent enough, and the insecurities which make us overreact and prove ourselves as right. So aggression is again an activated anger material from the shadow. Then the patterns that we have, the scripts that we play and replay in life, means if you look at it, कि कोई भी अगर जैसे कोई भी situation हो रही है which is emotionally charged, So there is a typical reaction and a typical way in which we behave. Some of us, they would, just close down, shut down. And we would just, close the door and kisi se baatcheet nahi karna, kuch nahi, bas, I am totally cut off. Some of us would explode in anger. Some of us would, create a lot of drama. And then we have repeated statements like, maybe kind of, I'll give you example कि मेरी कोई परवाह नहीं करता है, किसी को मेरी परवाह नहीं है. So every emotional situation, every fight, the statement would be मेरी कोई परवाह नहीं करता है. So there is a lot of depth in that statement. There is that little child within that person who felt rejected as a child, wherein the child did not found anyone to take care of that child. And that's where, the activation when as an adult, when in relationship that happens, so that material is activated. So these are some of the ways. Then another is projection. जो हमने अभी किया था exercise, that had certain clues into projection. So what is happening in projection is कि जो हम अपने अंदर एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं, वो हम दूसरे के अंदर देख रहे हैं और हमें पता नहीं है कि हम जिस चीज के लिए दूसरे को जज कर रहे हैं, that is an aspect of ourselves, only that it is unacknowledged, unaccepted, unknown. I'll bring out this beautiful picture which shows what projection is on this slide, and it makes it easier to understand projection. So if you look at this picture, I'm just coming to projection picture. Can you see what is common in all the pictures? So this chap is drawing sceneries, seeing the actual sceneries from the background, and see what is coming up in what he's seeing and what he's drawing. What is one thing which is prominent? Can you just write it in the chat? What is one thing that is prominent? Yeah? Yes. So now is this there in the outside world, or is this a part of the world of this person, this chap who's drawing and painting the world? Where is it? Outside or within? Part of him, yeah? And this is what is essentially happening. Now, the person who's saying कि मेरी कोई परवाह नहीं करता, somebody who was rejected and not taken care of as a child, actually what was needed for that person was to take care of themselves. And this is what the person is seeing in the outside world, nobody caring for the person. But the fact is, the person needed to care for themselves. And anything, all our judgments. I'll share another judgment here, which exemplifies what projection is. So I would say that जो मेरे colleagues होते थे जो कि थोड़ा सा बैठ करके relax कर रहे होते. This is one of my favorite examples. I think I shared it with Chatterjee earlier. So sorry. So what I would say is that वो बैठ करके आराम से चाय पी रहे हैं ना, तो मैं कहती थी कितने lazy लोग हैं. They are not committed. They are not committed to their work. यहाँ पे बच्चों को पढ़ाने के लिए आए हैं या चाय पीने के लिए आए हैं, right? Because the part in me which could relax was into shadow right from the childhood. And a part in me had not acknowledged the human being's need to sit and relax and enjoy social company. And that is why these people who were sitting and relaxing and enjoying social company, they were doing the job definitely, बट वो जो वो अगर उन्होंने 10 मिनट 5 मिनट बैठ लिए तो उसमें मेरा जजमेंट शुरू हो गया. सो जो एक स्ट्रॉन्ग रिएक्शन होता है, हम किसी को भी देख करके, जैसे तभी दैट द पॉइंट दैट यू हैड इन द प्रीवियस स्लाइड, कि दैट इरिटेशन, एक बहुत बहुत हमें कोई चीज बहुत खटकती है किसी में, वो खटकती ही इसलिए है क्योंकि वो हमारे अंदर की शैडो है. दैट्स एन अनएक्नॉलेज्ड पार्ट इन आवरसेल्व्स एंड इट्स वेरी हार्ड टू एक्सेप्ट, इट्स वेरी हार्ड टू बिलीव, बट that's the unacknowledged part in ourselves. And so ये हम projection, so part of shadow work involves actually decoding these projections and how we decode these projections and how we dissolve these projections. And basically जब हम अपने अंदर की shadow को illuminate और integrate कर लेते हैं तो वो चीजें हमें डिस्टर्ब ही नहीं करती है. नाउ आई डोंट हैव जजमेंट फॉर पीपल हु सिट एंड रिलैक्स. लेकिन एक मेन फैक्टर यहाँ पे है जो मैंने पहले शेयर किया था कि जैसे हम वो चपाती को, फंगस लगी हुई चपाती को निकाल रहे हैं, सो इट हैज टू बी टेकन आउट विद केयर. The moment I realized that in my shadow was an aspect of me that wanted to sit and relax and enjoy life, I forgot the center. I forgot the center, and I, from this side of the pendulum, which is just working hard, not taking care of anything in life, and from this center of the pendulum, I swung to this side. Means no work. So the earlier situation was all work and no play. The other situation was all play and no work. This is the caveat, that with shadow work, we bring it to light, but we don't have to swing to the extremes. We have to balance it out and come to the center. Another is excessive positivity. Now, excessive positivity is so many times a manifestation of shadow. ये तो है ही नहीं कि हमारे अंदर में कुछ negative है ही नहीं. This is negative and positive is part of life. So if we have lot of this unacceptance and resistance to negativity in life, and that is pushed into the shadow, so we are excessively positive, which leads to even denial of the negative, and which is very unhealthy. Sorry. Then people pleasing is another manifestation of shadow. So with having difficulties saying no, and not annoying people, not hurting people, not disappointing people. So with that concept, our own ability to stand up for ourselves, that goes into the shadow. Self-sabotage. When there is a lot of shadow material, तो हम जैसे कहते हैं ना, you must have heard of those statements. I'll just come to it. I think I'll just stop the PPT and I'll better. So I would love to see here and talk. So जैसे हमने कई बार सुना है ना, जैसे कुछ गड़बड़ हो रही होती है तो ये कहते हैं ये तुम नहीं, तुम्हारे अंदर का शैतान बोल रहा है. सुना है ना, ये तुम नहीं, तुम्हारे अंदर का शैतान बोल रहा है. So what is that शैतान? That shaitan is the shadow, and which just means वो ज्यादातर तो हाइडिंग में रहता है. वो शैतान ज्यादातर तो हाइडिंग में रहता है, लेकिन वो जब एक्टिवेट हो जाता है तो वो शैतान वाला काम करता है. वो उस चपाती की तरह जो वो फंगस के साथ एक्टिवेट हो गई है. So that is something which is devilish, that can make a person unwell. Any person who's feeding that chapati would be unwell. So उसी तरह से ये जब वो शैडो वाला मटेरियल निकलता है तो जो एक हेल्दी एंगर निकलेगा वो डैमेजिंग और डिस्ट्रॉइंग नहीं होगा, पर जो एक्टिवेटेड शैडो वाला निकलेगा दैट इज डैमेजिंग एंड डिस्ट्रॉइंग. तो वो हम कहते हैं तुम्हारे अंदर का शैतान बोल रहा है. सो दैट इज द शैडो. सॉरी. एंड तो सेल्फ सैबोटाज कैसे होता है कि जब हम लाइफ में बहुत अच्छा कर रहे होते हैं, हम जॉब में अच्छा कर रहे हैं, हम अपने करियर में अच्छा कर रहे हैं, हम अपने रिलेशनशिप में अच्छा कर रहे हैं, सब कुछ अच्छा चल रहा है, तो उस टाइम पे हम कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा कर देंगे, वो शैतान एक्टिवेट हो जाएगा जो कि पूरी सिचुएशन को रिवर्स कर देगा, क्योंकि शैतान का काम ही ये है कि उसने परेशान करना है। तो हमारे अंदर का शैतान ऐसे उजागर होगा और वो सिचुएशन को एकदम से खराब कर देगा। सो दैट इज हाउ वी सैबोटाज। हमने कितने लोगों का सुना है कि अरे वो इतना अच्छा कर रहा था करियर में, सब कुछ इतना अच्छा कर रहा था, अचानक से ये कैसे हो गया पता ही नहीं चला। मे बी the person kind of showed a complete volcano burst at the office and is fired from the job just before he was expecting a promotion because he was doing so well. So that is a concept of self-sabotage. And so these are some of the ways in which the shadow can manifest and appear. Yeah.
Great, wonderful. I think that's going very interesting and very insightful. And what I'm able to gauge out is the ancient times are manifesting in different ways now. When we had heard about Ardhnareshwar, masculine and feminine both are getting represented in each one. I think that was the symbolic indicator also, one of the symbolic indicators. And the other is, the shaitan which you are talking about. So, Dev bhi andar hai, Rakshas bhi andar hai.
Exactly, yeah.
So
Yes.
There is one very, I think learned author which you might have also read during your applied psychologies, Martin Seligman, and he had about learned optimism he had talked about.
Yes.
And here we are talking about certain aspects of excessive positivity when we talk about.
Yes.
So isn't that an indicator that when people try to do things too fast, try to, you can say, so I think these two terms, both self-sabotage and excessive positivity, are interconnected. You are not taking your own natural projections, but just because certain things have been infused on you as a value system, you're following it. But somewhere deep inside, you're somewhat different, and you've just been accepting it, and then all of a sudden you burst out.
Very
and you say
apt.
that enough is enough.
Very apt. So that is when the shaitan jagruk hota hai. So when a lot has been continuing into suppression.
Yes.
And there is a lot of difference between the persona and the real self. So wo real self hai, that is so much rejected, so much neglected because of the persona thing. कि वो फिर एक दिन persona को कहते हैं चल ठीक है अब तू देख मैं क्या करता हूँ.
Right. Yeah. So that's how people often, tend to take U-turns in their life. And, one of the best ways where people tend to often realize is, they take up some adventure, something different in their life, which breaks the monotony, and, they take a break because they feel that it's, enough is enough, or it's too much for them to handle.
Yeah.
So can understand from that. So when you are actually taking anyone into that therapeutic treatment, so there are certain techniques which you might be using. If you'd like to talk a little about that.
Yeah, sure. So firstly, I would like to thank you for bringing this out, that jo hum break lete hain, right? Like the adventure trip that you had talked about. Yeah. So that is the place wherein we are not into a persona. आजकल तो वो भी persona में चला जाता है, क्योंकि हम ना वो पोस्ट जो सोशल मीडिया पे डालनी है, तो उस चक्कर में जो रियल जो एडवेंचर है उसको नहीं एंजॉय कर रहे हैं. एंड आई हैव एक्सपीरियंस्ड इट कि क्योंकि वो जो इनर वो जो एक्टिवेट जब हो जाता है, फिर उस टाइम पे लगता है कि ये पोस्ट सही लगेगी कि नहीं लगेगी, ये नहीं लगेगी, तो फिर इसका मतलब तो देन यू आर इनटू दैट. एंड दैट इज व्हाई व्हाट आई हैव डन इज दैट कि मैं if I am going onto a vacation, so I am not posting. जब वो vacation end हो रहा होता है तो तब जाकर के post कर रहे हैं. So nothing doing with the posting. So here it is. तो जो हम ये break लेते हैं, so that allows us to reconnect with our authentic self in all its form. goodness, ugliness, whatever it is, पर हम उसके साथ connect होते हैं तो उसको वो एक दिलासा और एक जो शांति मिलती है, तो then that shaitan is silent. And that is why it, it nourishes at some point in time we realize कि हाँ अभी सही है. और ये जब हमारा persona और उसका difference ज़्यादा रहता है, तब हमें ये बहुत जरूरी होता है. So now you had asked about the modalities, the ways in which we can work through it. So one of the best ways is to work through reflective journaling and keeping a trigger log. क्योंकि हमारा जितना जो material है, activated material है, so that is, triggers are activating us. Triggers are activating the shadows. And वो उस trigger में बहुत information है हमारे shadow material के लिए. And if we look at the trigger, if we look at the pattern of a response to that trigger, we would have so much of clue to the hidden material which we can work with. So that's one of the first ways in which we get into, diving deeper into it. And then thereafter, some of the material has to be cleaned up from the past. So we use a couple of processes, like we use guided meditation so that we can take the client down into the past, wherein it initially started, wherein that person decided to hide this, the person decided to suppress this, the person decided to be X way and not be Y way. And so that's the cleaning of the past when it comes to the subconscious mind. Then there are a lot of practices like yoga, bioenergetic practices, which helps us clear that energy from the body. And we have such, such beautiful poses, the asanas in yoga. So all the hip openers that we have, so they help process a lot of childhood trauma, a lot of stored emotions. Our emotions are stored in the hips and the thighs. So when we do the hip openers, so it helps us release that trauma, release that energy from that traumatic energy from our body. We have the heart opening poses, जैसे हमारा camel pose है, right? So what is happening is जब हम heart को open करते हैं, तो जो हमने एक point in time heart break में हमने अपने heart को बंद कर दिया था, कि हमने decide किया कि जब भी हम किसी को चाहते हैं, जब भी हम किसी को care करते हैं, finally we are betrayed or we are hurt or we are left alone. तो अब किसी को चाहना ही नहीं, अभी किसी का केयर ही नहीं करना, किसी के लिए कुछ नहीं करना, right? So when that is decided, so we have closed the doors of the heart. Now what is happening is when the doors are closed, it's like the doors of our house. So definitely when the doors of the house are closed, nobody can get inside the house. But कोई गलत आदमी नहीं घर के अंदर आ रहा, पर कोई अच्छा भी नहीं आ सकता, कोई अच्छी चीज भी नहीं आ सकती, वो अमेज़न वाला पार्सल वाला आ रहा है, वो भी नहीं आपका पार्सल देकर के जा सकता, because the doors are closed. So similarly, when we have closed the doors of the heart, all the goodness that has to come in, all the goodness that has to go out, the door is closed. The parcel that is coming from the universe of whatever form, love, joy, abundance, prosperity, happiness, peace, everything. So वहां से जो कुछ भी आ रहा है उसको भी हम रिजेक्ट कर रहे हैं, हम अंदर से बाहर किसी को देना चाह रहे हैं, हम रिजेक्ट कर रहे हैं. We have closed the doors. So when we open that heart out, so we allow so much to flow in and so much to flow out. That's the liveliness. We come back into our, liveliness, which is our default nature. The only thing is that जैसे हम घर के दरवाजे को हमेशा खुला नहीं छोड़ते हैं, लेकिन हमेशा बंद करके भी नहीं रखते हैं. So we open it and we close it at our discretion. So we learn how to open our heart and how to close it, and when to open it and when to close it, so that we are not vulnerable to the negative or the abusive influences in life, but we have not closed ourselves to the good flow of goodness in life. So yoga is beautiful process to help us open up these things. Then we have exercises like projection dissolution exercise. So we look into the projections and we dissolve those projections. So these are some of the ways in which we work through.
That's very interesting. Very true. I've been into yoga practice since 2007, and I remember that transformation which I have been able to witness myself. And for it may be of interest to all that different chakras are getting represented in different parts of the body. The subtle and physical body are very much interconnected, and each of the gland that we have in our body is somewhere connected to each of the chakra. So the base of the spine is where you're harboring a lot of emotions and everything, like what Dr. Pami said. So it makes a lot of sense, because a lot of childhood traumas, everything gets stored, and perhaps it becomes one of the reasons why we are not acting, why procrastination, lethargy, and a lot of such the negative attributes settle in, because they are not able to let you open up. So that's very insightful, Dr. Pami. Wonderful, excellent. And like the similar thing you mentioned about heart also. So a lot of undissolved emotions, a lot of sabotaged kind of emotions, are somewhere hidden deep inside. And when people get through these processes, a lot of things open up, and then people tend to feel lighter. So that's really interesting.
You have got the exact word, that feeling of being lighter.
Yes.
That's so true. Actually, जैसे हम जो water रहता है, तो water में we when we boil it, so it changes its form from the liquid to the gaseous form, and it goes up. And उसी तरह से ये जो emotional energy है, जो dense energies है, जो shadow material, जो heavy energies है, or heavy emotions है, they bring us down.
Yes. So
and the moment
we do breathing techniques are really very, very much helpful in that. Also, because somewhere they have taken a form of dense air inside, and then you're able to exhale it out, and that de-stresses you a lot. So wonderful. I think we are going in the very right direction there. So we've tried to understand a lot of benefits which come out of it. So what challenges you actually face when you deal with such cases?
So one of the biggest challenges is, the first challenge that comes is inner resistance. And when I say inner resistance, it can be conscious at the conscious level, it can be at the subconscious level as well. So the conscious level resistance is, when we are not even ready to admit that there is a problem with us. So there is hardly anything can be done. When we are justified in our behavior, the way we behave in any situation, the way we react, emotionally react. So if we are happy and comfortable with it, so there is nothing that can be done about it. And I've seen it in so many, relationships, that the couple relationships, right? There are a lot of emotional triggers. And when one of them is ready to shift, the other is not ready to shift. But the problem is that both of them, they want the other to work upon, because trigger में यही होता है. उसको लगता है कि वो trigger कर रहा है, उसको लगता है वो trigger करता है. So nothing can be done. But if one person decides to, work on themselves, और जहां पे वो एक इंसान अपने ऊपर काम कर लेता है, it shifts the energy and the dynamics of the relationship. तो उधर के triggers भी कम होते हैं, उधर के भी triggers. I mean, even one person doing this job in the family helps all the, the energy dynamics, the emotional dynamics of the whole of the family. So it's about taking the responsibility first. So challenges, are we ready to take that responsibility or not? Second, जब हम काम करते हैं इसके ऊपर में, तो because there is a lot of suppressed material, and there's a lot of suppressed memories also. Sometimes the memories could be very, very traumatic, very, very traumatic. And there could be a case of sexual abuse, right? So physical abuse. And in that case, it has to be handled with a lot of care. And the third thing is that we cannot we cannot speed it up beyond a limit. It has
Very
to be done one by one. So just like जैसे हम फिजिकल अगर हम सर्जरी के लिए जाते हैं तो हम ऐसा नहीं होता कि हम डॉक्टर को बोले कि यार हम आज सर्जरी के लिए आए हैं, मेरा यहाँ दिमाग में जो गड़बड़ चल रहा है ये ब्रेन को भी सही कर दो, मेरा पेट को भी सही कर दो, किडनी को भी सही कर दो, मेरा हार्ट में भी पेस मेकर डाल दो, आज ही मुझे फिट कर दो. एंड we go it one by one, we do it one by one, and we need that time for the body to heal up and recover before we go for the next thing. So a lot of patience is needed. So if we become impatient, if we feel कि अरे मैं तो डॉक्टर के पास गया था लेकिन क्या हुआ कि मेरा तो जो है पेट में तो अभी तक दर्द कर रहा है, ऑपरेशन तो उन्होंने कर दिया लेकिन पेट का दर्द तो ठीक नहीं हुआ. भाई ऑपरेशन हार्ट का हुआ है, पेट का दर्द में टाइम लगेगा when we operate on it. So similarly, these are more subtle elements, and so not easily, not those tangible things and not easily seen as in, when we see it in physical body. So that is why we need to have a lot of patience. So if we lose patience, if we lose faith, or if we don't have, that faith and perseverance, so it can be a difficult journey. Third, another thing is that some of us have a tendency to self-berate ourselves. क्योंकि क्या होता है जब भी हम सफाई का काम करते हैं, जैसे हम घर से कचरा साफ कर रहे हैं, तो एक बार जब हमने बॉक्स को हटाया, बेड को हटाया, तो बहुत सारा जो नीचे छुपा हुआ इतना ढेर सारा ब्रूमिंग के साथ बाहर आता है. तो वो बाहर आता है, बाहर दिख रहा है, तो अगर हम उसको देख के डर जाते हैं कि देखो ये तो इतना कचरा है सामने, राइट, साफ होना चाहिए था, उसकी जगह पे इतना कचरा दिख रहा है. So that is because it has come out and it has to be safely disposed of. Yes. And the more it comes out means there was more that was hidden there, but that is a part of the process. तो हम जब ऐसे processes करते हैं तो हमारी लाइफ में वो कचरा दिखने वाला सिम्टम कैसे आता है कि anger release हो रहा है, so we may tend to be more aggressive than we were earlier, which will disrupt the family dynamics. लोग भी कहेंगे कि पहले ही सही थे, अभी तो ये तो गड़बड़ हो गया, right? And अगर हम अपने हार्ट को ओपन कर रहे हैं, so there could be so many spontaneous bursts of crying. If we are if we are pulling out sadness and grief from the shadow, and I have so many clients, and I have somebody, people sitting here also in this webinar also, कि वो दिल क्लोज किया हुआ था लेकिन वो जैसे ऐसे सेशन में ऐसे खुला ना, and they got into crying, and वो कह रहे मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि मैं ऐसे मतलब why am I crying here, मुझे क्यों रोना आ रहा है, and मैं जब भी आपके सामने when I'm with you, so मुझे वो रोना आता है. So sorry. So now the pain needs a very safe and loving place to come out.
Yes.
And when you hold that safe space for the client, so that is when it comes out. And it eventually has to come out. Eventually. So those episodes could be, हो सकता है कि किसी का 15 मिनट में क्लीन हो गया, किसी का वो रिपीटेड भी आएगा, बार-बार भी आएगा. And eventually it helps us to open that heart. And heart को open करना means अपनी liveliness को open करना, अपने joy को, अपने जो हम ये वाली जो energy जिसको मैं कहती हूँ, so it's opening that up. Pain or sadness उस energy को खोलने ही नहीं देती.
Very true, very true, very true.
So these are some of the challenges, yeah, but nothing is a big challenge as long as we are willing. So I see nothing as a challenge.
Yes, yes. So our life is like that deep ocean, and in that there are sunk ships, sunk dreams, and treasures also.
Yes, yes, that's so true. So जो हम कहते हैं ना कि shadow में it's only the not so good material. So there are parts, so many beautiful parts of ourselves. क्योंकि वो जैसे क्लस्टर्स में एक के साथ में एक, तो हमारे जो जैसे सैडनेस के साथ में फिर जो हमारी लाइवलीनेस है, जॉय है, जो स्पॉन्टेनिटी, वो सारी चीजें उसके क्लस्टर में वहीं पे छुपी हुई हैं. वो रिलीज होती है, तो देन एवरीथिंग गेट्स फ्री एंड इज रिलीज्ड. बहुत हम लाइक व्हेन आई हैव सीन इन सो मेनी पीपल कि जैसे जब शैडो वर्क करते हैं तो एकदम से लाइफ का पर्पस निकल करके आता है. क्योंकि वो पहले तो इन ऑथेंटिसिटी में लाइफ वो पर्पस देखने ही नहीं दिया. So we are, in the mask, chasing the mask.
Very true, very true.
And जैसे जैसे वो मास्क ड्रॉप करते हैं, and it's a very energetic connection. हम ये कहते हैं ना कि हम क्यों हमेशा ये रिलेशनशिप अट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं, हम ऐसे लोगों को क्यों अट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं. हम ऐसे लोगों को इसलिए अट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं क्योंकि वो हम मास्क के थ्रू अट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं. And they are the people who are attracted to the mask. They are not attracted to the real us. And the moment we drop, and that is why फिर वो अंदर conflict होता है. The real us, the mask us, and the person, we are into conflict. लेकिन जब वो हम हटा देते हैं and we are into the real, the persona and the self are so similar. So if you were to put a video camera in my house and observe me, तो मैं जैसे अभी बात कर रही हूँ वैसे ही मैं घर में हूँ, वैसे ही मैं बाहर हूँ, वैसे ही मैं ऑफिस में, हर जगह पे I am the same, and it has taken work to come to this place. So when we are here, so then anybody who's vibing with me is vibing with my authentic energy.
Yes.
And there is so much of satisfaction in that relation. There's so much meaning and connection and fulfillment in that relation. So this work actually opens us to that meaning, that fulfillment, which is the right of every human being.
Very true, very true. So for the interest of the audience, is there some very, without going into any name calling, any specific experience you would like to share with people of such transformation? Understanding that, it takes a long process, very long time. किसी शायर ने कहा कि हमें उम्र दराज लगा उनके दरवाजे पर पहुंचने में, हमने दरवाजा खटखटाया, उन्होंने खोला और कहा लौट जाओ. तो so
Yeah.
So it's like, very difficult for people, they have, built up all those things for such a long period of time. And then you cannot ask people, okay, fine, just immediately, just drop it.
Yeah. Yes. It's not possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any experience you'd like to share and, how that
so I will share about this, since I was talking about grief and pain. So I'll share this example.
Yeah.
So this is a case study from a woman of 36 years. So, she came with two problems. One is, addiction, and and addiction, I'll explain, the way that it happened. And the second is having panic attacks. So the addiction was kind of, it was a series of addictions, right? So there was a point in time when she was addicted to smoking and alcohol, right? She withdrew from this, but she got hooked on to phone addiction, right? Withdrew from this, hooked on to online shopping addiction. Released from this, hooked on back to phone addiction. So what was happening was that यहाँ से निकल रहा है, यहाँ से, and she was looking at it at a very superficial level, like dealing with the addiction, not dealing with the cause. Now, addiction is rooted into craving for pleasure. And craving for pleasure is a way to soothe an underlying pain. So there is a notion that, when I have this pleasure, so I will be, able to do away with the pain.
Yeah,
and the
craving
pain
for
that
sweets is what I've heard about.
Yeah. And we have examples of comfort eating.
Yes.
कोई भी stressful moment आया और कुछ ना कुछ खाने को चाहिए है, right? That's a very common trend. So what we are in this situation also comfort eating, what we are trying to do is कि उस pain को हम एक तरह से cope up करने के लिए we are using the means of pleasure. and that becomes addictive because pain to handle hua nahi na. So pain is still there, तो उसको handle, अब एक addiction से छूटा तो दूसरा कहीं तो कहीं सहारा चाहिए लगाने को, तो वो दूसरा addiction, तीसरा addiction, एक से छूट रहे दूसरे पे. So when we looked into the, into her pain, right? And we cleared the whole of this energy of pain, whole of this emotion of pain. And एक और जो second था उसका panic attack का था. Panic attack में क्या होता था कि जैसे she had this कि उसके husband ने उसको अगर call पे या उस पे वो message पे respond नहीं किया because of work. So she would be, so panicked that she would be calling to every of his जो मतलब office के members होके उधर call मिला देना, कुछ भी कर देना, and she would get into panic attacks. When we looked into the pain, so the जो pain का हमें पता लगा वो ये कि she was given into adoption by her parents to her grandparents, and वहीं से वो एक abandonment wound start हो गया, and that fear कि कहीं कोई मुझे छोड़ ना जाए, right? So that was the reason for those panic attacks and her obsessive clinging to her husband. And जो pain था, that pain was of being abandoned by her parents. हम कहते हैं बच्चे को कुछ समझ में नहीं आता, बच्चे को कुछ पता नहीं होता. The child knows everything. And it was within the first year of her life, I think, that she was given into adoption. So now, after, bringing that pain out and healing that pain, she could finally release it. Abhi usko koi panic attacks nahi hai. She's very sober. She's not into any addictions or anything. And I think, जैसे मेरे ख्याल से एक डेढ़ साल हो गया होगा, there is no relapse. Addiction का जो relapse है, that can happen very quickly. And so she has got no relapse, and she's just loving and enjoying her life.
Great, excellent, wonderful. Wish, we had more time to, keep dwelling deep into such insightful and engaging topic, and time is actually short. We are running out, and there are a lot of questions also. I presume people, who are waiting here for their turn would want to ask you those questions. So, running it fast. The first thing, because people have waited for long. So, if people want to know more about this, get into a little more details about this, are there certain resources, something they can read to? Is there something which we can share with them?
Yeah, so I will put it into everyone in meeting. So I will just type it out here. So we have books by Carl Jung. So we have the 4 archetypes. I'm just typing it out here. 4 archetypes by Carl Jung. And then we have Owning Our Shadow by Robert A. Johnson. And we have also another wonderful book, though that's a very, deep read, The Shadow Effect. That's by Dr. Deepak Chopra. And then we have Debbie Ford also on it, I think.
Great.
Debbie Ford. So these are the books. And so these are good books on reading about 4 archetypes. Actually helps us to, get to know more about our persona and our animus anima and shadow in particular context. So we can relate it to every context in life and explore more on it. And yeah.
Great, wonderful. So excellent interaction, Dr. Pami. I think there is still a lot to explore. The subject is too deep. You cannot put everything into one session. I hope everyone will understand. See it as one of an awareness session from our end, which could, trigger, which could inspire you a little to dig a little more deeper into it. And in case you want to get in touch with you, we'll be sharing the details of Dr. Pami for you to get in touch with. There's some questions, and question which had come to us is in which we had discussed in the initial part of the conversation was related to the female suppression and the male suppression. So this question is coming: who suppresses more, male or female?
So it depends on the context and the situation. Earlier, we used to have more of female suppression. And now, because the society is evolving, but there are certain places wherein, like suppose we call about, anger, so that is more suppressed in the women. We call about sadness and grief, or maybe even that, that crying and that vulnerability. So that is suppressed more in the men, but we cannot have actually very sound generalizations on it. And it really varies. And what is suppressed where? It also depends from family to family. So families who are more open, who are more emotionally literate, and so they have more acceptance for a broader range of emotions, and they help the children, develop that healthy way of expressing emotions rather than telling them to suppress them. And those families who are not so emotionally literate, so they would go more with kind of repressions.
And we have a lot more questions. And one of the question is how to express anger healthily.
Okay. So here it is. Anger is a very intensive energy, because anger is something which is produced in our body to fight. And it has actually, released a lot of energy when we are in those moments of anger. Already a lot of energy is released within our system so that we could fight. Now, here, we are not literally fighting. We are not literally boxing and, kicking or killing someone, but that energy has to be released. So one is addressing the issue and expressing your anger in a very assertive manner. Secondly, releasing that built-up energy which was there. If we don't release it, so we block the emotion. And it stays within the body. So one first step is assertion, wherein we are assertively communicating a reason for being angry. Which boundary has been violated, where injustice has happened, whatever wrong has taken place. So we communicate that point out, and we point it out in a very non-aggressive way. Right? Assertively. And we also point out what we needs to be done in this situation. So we are not blaming, actually, not using the I statements, using the I statements, not using the you statements. We are not blaming that person, but we are putting across our needs. And the second, we release that energy through physical exercise. So it's always good to, go for a run, do a dance, move the body, skipping, kuch bhi exercise kar lo. And so many of you must have experienced it कि जब गुस्सा आया है तो जब हम कुछ भी physical activity करते हैं तो it releases, और कुछ नहीं तो अपने घर के कबर्ड को साफ कर लो, right? So पता कुछ रोटियां निकल आएंगी, right? So we can do anything of this sort to release that energy. And thereafter it's all because that emotional energy जो उस time पे उठी है body के अंदर create हुई है, emotions are energy in motion. With the motion, it just passes away.
So I think this question answers the next question also: how to avoid such outbursts. So basically, practicing assertion and go for a run.
Yeah. And actually, practicing exertion is something which is very much needed to deal that situation effectively in the moment. And ultimately, we also need to get to the root of that explosion. That's the shaitan. That's the shaitan coming up. So we need to actually, pacify that shaitan by acknowledging and accepting.
Very true. We've got another interesting question. It says, if you become so much straightforward, do not think about others who are listening. We just clear the emotion from ourselves and transfer it to the listener. That is also a problem, isn't it?
It's a good question. Actually, see, it's about being authentic without an intention to hurt or attack. And that energy in itself
Yes,
is sufficient to handle that situation. So our intention deep down should not be about attacking or hurting the other, but to be able to express our needs in the kindest way possible.
very true. Understandable. Yes.
Yeah.
Another question is, even if we are willing to help ourselves, what do we do about our inconsistent behavior in following the therapies?
Yes. Good question, Sonia. So,
Yeah.
so here it is. Inconsistency has in its shadow resistance. So we work with the resistance. And for some of you who are here, like Swati and Banita, Rajneesh has not met him, but you would remember Sanjeev in our sessions. Today he's authoring a book. He has created, so he was with us in the chakra healing group, and he used the base of the chakra healing processes and activities and the concept, and he has created a model and for the this corporate world based on that. And so that's here, the chakra is for the personal enlightenment, and he has got it into, the corporate enlightenment model. And he has written a book also. We had a meeting sometime back. So he used to have a lot of resistance, right? And Swati and Banita would actually, vouch for it. So he would be sleeping in half of the sessions. So that's the way of resistance coming up. Sessions in the sense of meditation. So whenever we had a meditation, so he would sleep, and so he would be worried कि पता नहीं जो है क्या, मतलब मेरे को meditation का फायदा भी हो रहा है कि नहीं, मैं तो सो जाता हूँ. So I said, you are into trance, you are getting the benefit, your subconscious mind is receiving the message, so no worries. And then in the chakra work, we also did, a lot of practices. We have it in the yoga, the Mooladhara Bandha.
Yes.
So that helps in breaking the resistance.
Yes.
So anybody who's facing resistance, so we practice खुद ही करना पड़ेगा. Practice कोई और कर नहीं सकता. लेकिन once we do the practices, so there are solutions for breaking the resistance also. And once the resistance breaks, nothing can stop the consistency and commitment.
Very true. Very true. Yes, Mooladhara indeed is very helpful, and a lot of instruments, musical instruments, are also known to have,
Yes.
trigger that, and quite helpful. The drums and everything. A lot of that's altogether a different subject. Maybe we could move to it some other time. So wonderful. There's still questions, but we are really short of time. And I understand a lot of people are in hurry, that we have been taking time out of their, the much busier Sunday. So thank you so much, Dr. Pami. It was really wonderful interacting with you. And if you have something ready on how people would contact you, that will be great.
Yeah. So I will just share this. I'll just share the slide here. Just a minute, I'll come to the slide. This is something that I had planned, but so we could not.
I can see it can take almost
Yeah.
another session for us.
No. Yeah. So I'm just wait. So here are some of the benefits, like when we have done a shadow work, and these are all from my own experiences and the stories from my clients. And till now, I have been working on shadow work on individual sessions. And but now I have put it together in the form of a course. Because individual is always that, time intensive. So I have put most of the information based material into the form of tutorials. And so it's a hybrid thing that I'm doing. And most of the experiential work in live sessions. So this is something that I've created, in which we have, first the shadow work blueprint, and then we have the 3 secrets to shadow mastery, and we have the steps for healing, and the 14 common shadow elements and how to heal them and identify them, and also to bring out the golden shadow. So we all have that, like I talked about the liveliness, the authenticity, and all those aspects.
Yes.
So I have this, and the best part is that it just so happened, these people had got the course, Swati, Vanita, Rajneesh, they had got the course in March. And they were the kind of, pre-launch people to buy this course. And I told them I'll bring it around Dussehra. And so it's happening now. So it's the Dussehra that I'm finally getting it live. And so we have I have catered to a journey of 21 days. And it's so beautifully fit into this model that I prepared 9 modules for learning for the ones that we saw here. And then I have put 7 days of work as a challenge. And then we have inner child healing work into it. And we have a community so that we can interact. And we have 1 weekly inner circle call. This is the time when we do the live experiential work. And the 21 days happen just on the day of Diwali. Today is Navratras. So something is happening, right? And like I was wondering in the morning, I said, मैंने ऐसे plan नहीं किया था कुछ मतलब कि इस तरह से, but how did it happen? And so we are talking about illuminating the shadows, right? And Diwali is the time for illumination. And so it's just coming out that we complete the whole 21 days journey on the day of Diwali. So that's what it is. We are starting on 24th, and it's just a simple 3-way process. So those who would be interested in diving into this journey, so you can register today. We already have few of the registered participants in the webinar today. And so you can register today. And we start on 24th October, and after 21 days, that is on 12th of November, you would be done with the whole of the course once. The course remains with you. It's a lifetime access. You can do it anytime. The inner circle calls are also available as lifetime access. So every week you can be part of the inner circle calls. And so with every inner circle call, what we do is we just bring 1 or 2 participants who can work on their shadows, and which helps each and everyone present and witnessing the scene. And those who have been in the community would know that we have a very safe, very happily bonded, and a very nurturing community. And so Swati, Vanita, Rajneesh, you can share in the chat what you feel about the community. And so these are my the ways in which you could contact me. So I am on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I use a little less than the Instagram and Facebook. And YouTube, I have not posted for 3 years. I am posting mainly on Instagram and Facebook. And so most of these would be, at the rate of Dr. Parmeswaran or Parmeswaran. And then another thing here, yes. So this whole PPT comes as a bonus to all of you who have been present here till the end. So there were a lot of things which I have not shown you on the PPT when we were talking. So this whole PPT comes to you. And then we have this special code for today's, today's members on the buying of this course. So there's a flat discount, which is more than 60%. It's around 63-65% of discount. And you can use the coupon code CWC15 and get enrolled into the course. The discount is only for today. And those who are registering in this before 2 p.m., I also have, for the action takers, I have another bonus, which is my session, one-to-one session, individual session to you, which I generally, keep it as, I'm not doing those sessions now, but I keep it at 2,500 per session. So that's a bonus which comes with this. And for those who are registering by 2 p.m. today. And I will just share this here. Just the one of
you can share this PPT with us. We'll be, sending it to all the registered participants.
Yeah. Just give me a minute. I'll just wanted to share this link so that those who would like to buy. So I hope you're not seeing my screen. Are you?
Not yet.
Okay. So I have opened up the WhatsApp. So I was just confirming if I'm. So I'll just share that link. Just give me a minute. So no, this has gone to a single participant. This is so this is the link.
Yeah, it has come.
And
yes.
yeah, so this link you can use it, and so we have this special code for today's participants. CWC is very dear to me. Sharadji is very dear to me, and so this is from my side. Thank you, Vanita. Thank you.
Thank you
So
so much.
Vanita has been a very active member actually of our community.
Great.
And yeah, and she is already into the course, the Shadow Work Intensive.
Wonderful. Excellent. So, Dr. Pami, $1 billion question that has been put, towards the end of the session is that how would one get to know that this course is for them?
Yes. That's $1 billion question. So one is having a lot of triggers. Lot of triggers. अगर हमारे emotions बहुत out of proportion अगर चले जाते हैं. So one is being in proportion, one is out of proportion. तो अगर हमारे emotions out of proportion जाते हैं, that means there is a lot of shadow material.
Okay.
Secondly, if we are facing kind of, a lot of fear, anxiety, which is baseless, which is not rooted into reality, right? So that means there's a lot of shadow material that is leading to that anxiety. If we are repeatedly inviting certain situations in our life, कि इस सिचुएशन से निकल के उसमें गए पर वही सिचुएशन सेम है कि या तो ऐसे लोग हैं जो बहुत अनसपोर्टिव मिल रहे हैं, सो सिचुएशन वन. ऑफिस में जा रहे हैं, उस ऑफिस को चेंज किया, दूसरे ऑफिस में गए, वहां पे भी ऐसे लोग, तीसरे ऑफिस को चेंज किया, वहां पे भी ऐसे. दैट मींस वी आर कैरिंग इट विद इन आवरसेल्व्स. वो जो हॉर्न वाला सीन था, सो इफ ऑल सिचुएशन हैज दैट हॉर्न, not one situation but all situations in life wherever we go has that horn, so that means there is
that horn was so deeply identified with self-image.
yeah so that's another indicator. Yes. And sometimes there are a lot of health concerns, like in my case it was health. And so yeah.
Great, wonderful. So it's over to you, Dr. Rashmi. Thanks a lot, Dr. Pami. It was really wonderful being with you. Although topics related to psychotherapy, psychology are generally dense, but Seems all the chakras healed. The spark on your face reveals that, and you kept it very light and easy for everyone to take in. Dr. Rashmi?
Thank you, Pamiji, Sharad, for an excellent session. And my humble thanks to each and everyone who is present here and joined us today on this very auspicious day of Navratri. आज से नवरात्रि शुरू हो रहे हैं और ये कितना हमारा सेशन था जो कि शैडो के ऊपर एक नई रात्रि की ओर ले जाते हुए, नई उजाले की ओर ले जाते हुए, अपने अंदर के अंधकार को खत्म करते हुए। और इसमें जो सबसे सटीक जो चीज दिखती है, महिषासुर मर्दनी। जी हाँ, महिषासुर जो कि हमारे घमंड को दर्शाते हैं, हमारे एक अंदर के एक इनर कहना चाहिए ब्लैकनेस जो हमारा शैडो है उसको, तो हम अपने अंदर के उसको कैसे नष्ट कर सकते हैं उसकी हमने आज देखा। आज जो हमने सीखा वो सबसे पहले था कि हमारा क्या हिडन एस्पेक्ट्स हैं हमारी पर्सनालिटी के, हमारे इमोशंस की। इसे हम यूं भी कह सकते हैं जैसे कि राम और रावण दोनों हमारे अंदर हैं और हम किसको प्रोजेक्ट करते हैं और किसे छुपाते हैं। हम अधिकतर राम को दिखाना चाहते हैं और रावण को छुपाना चाहते हैं, पर किसी ऐसे मौके पे जबकि हम रावण को छुपा रहे होते हैं वो रावण उभर के सामने आ जाता है। तो हमने देखा कि हम कैसे अपने सीक्रेट्स को पहचाने और इमोशंस को और रिएक्शंस को मैनेज करें, अपने अंदरूनी जितने भी जो हमारे डर हैं उनको हम कैसे दूर कर पाए, इमोशनल ब्लॉक्स जो हमारे आ गए हैं हमारे अंदर में उनको हम दूर करें, और हम ये जाने कि हमारे इमोशनल ब्लॉक्स कहाँ पे आए, कब आए। और इसके लिए बहुत जरूरी है कि हम अपने आप को जैसे मिरर में देखते हैं वैसे हम अपने हर एक्शन रिएक्शन को एनालाइज करें, तो हम अपने शैडोज को, अपनी जो कहना चाहिए जितनी भी जो हमारी शॉर्ट कमिंग्स हैं, जो हमारे पॉजिटिव हैं, जो हमारे वो हम पहचान पाएंगे, और हमारे अंदर के जो कहते हैं ना डॉक्टर जिक्काल एंड मिस्टर हाइड, उसको हम जान पाएंगे और उनसे हम डील कर पाएंगे। ये इसको जानना इसलिए भी बहुत जरूरी है क्योंकि जितना हम जानते हैं उतना ही हम अंदर की जो उज्जवलता है उसको हम सामने ला सकते हैं। हम हमेशा अच्छा दिखना चाहते हैं, अच्छा प्रेजेंट होना चाहते हैं, पर हमारे अंदर के जो डर हैं उनसे हमें खुद ही लड़ना होगा। और ये अमृत मंथन जो है वो करने के टाइम पे होता है कि विष बहुत निकलता है, तो हो सकता है हमारे एग्रेशन बढ़ जाए, हमारे इमोशनल ब्रेकडाउन्स ज्यादा हो जाएं, पर उनसे डरना नहीं है, उसके ऊपर काम करते रहना है। काम बहुत आसान है, हम मेडिटेशन से, योगा से उसके ऊपर काबू पा सकते हैं। अगर फिर भी कुछ तकलीफ आती है, हम अपने आप को नहीं समझ पा रहे हैं, तो जैसे कि हमने अभी देखा हमारे साथ में डॉक्टर पमी है, उन्होंने अपना पूरा हमें समय दिया है और वे आगे भी उसके ऊपर काम करती रहेंगी। आप उनसे पर्सनली भी मिल सकते हैं, चैट बॉक्स में उनका हमने आपके साथ में एड्रेस और कॉन्टैक्ट नंबर भी शेयर किया है। सो टू रिकनेक्ट विथ आवर ट्रू इसेंस, और हमारी यही उम्मीद है कि आप अपने जो असली आप हैं, जो आपका उज्जवल रूप है और जो आपके उपहार हैं आपका जीवन में, जो आपका पर्पस है, उसको प्राप्त कर सकें और एक बेहतरीन आप सामने आए। हमारे जो अगले कार्यक्रम है वो है, हम फिर से लेके आ रहे हैं, हमने पहले भी एक सेशन लिया था हेल्दी जॉइंट्स एंड हैप्पी नीज के ऊपर। ये सेशन है रिप्लेसमेंट, रिहैबिलिटेशन एंड रिकवरी के ऊपर, और इसका समय और डेट आप नोट कर सकते हैं। अगले रविवार समय यही रहेगा 11 बजे सुबह, और आपके साथ उस दिन होंगे एक्सपर्ट डॉक्टर अमित मीना, जो कि एक बहुत अच्छे ऑर्थोपेडिशियन हैं, और वे बात करेंगे नी रिप्लेसमेंट्स और उसकी रिक्वायरमेंट्स कैसी होती हैं और क्या क्या करना जरूरी होता है। हम आपके साथ में एक बात और शेयर करना चाहते हैं कि हमारा माई क्रैक द वेलनेस कोड फाउंडेशन जो है अब एक नई जगह पे 3rd फ्लोर 9 लीला मेंशन राजभवन लाइंस जयपुर पे शिफ्ट हो गया है। और हमारे जो वेलनेस का जो एक कहना चाहिए मंत्रा है, उसमें जो लोग भी इंटरेस्टेड हैं और अपनी सर्विसेज देना चाहते हैं एज अ वॉलंटियर, तो हमारे पास में उनके लिए अपॉर्चुनिटी है एज फॉर इंटर्नशिप। तो अगर आप इंटरेस्टेड हैं, आप हमारे साथ काम करना चाहते हैं, तो हमारे टीम मेंबर के रूप में इंडिया एंड अब्रॉड कर सकते हैं और जो सोशल वेलफेयर में कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं। और अगर आपकी कुछ वेलनेस स्टोरी है, आपने कुछ अपनी जो बीमारी के ऊपर विजय प्राप्त की है, तो वो भी हम सबके साथ में शेयर करना चाहेंगे, क्योंकि हमारा मंत्र यही है, टू एजुकेट, टू इंस्पायर, टू हैव इम्पैक्ट ऑन